All right. Welcome to Learning Golang from Zero. My name is Paul Kernfeld, and I'm a member of the technical staff here at Cockroach Labs. So previously on this stream, we've done all kinds of things from a hello world. Most recently, we built last week this little stream timer that counts down to 12 o'clock. And it seems to have worked, which is great. I would say looking at the actual code, if it were like a take-home assignment, I probably wouldn't give myself the job, but we got the core functionality done. So for this episode, I'd like to take a look at packages and modules and explore how we can structure more complex projects in Golang. One thing that's interesting that I noticed about the stream viewership is it like when I post the stream, it like goes up to like 10 people, but then a bunch of people drop out after a few minutes. So maybe I shouldn't start it like 10 minutes ahead. Maybe I should only start the stream like a couple minutes. Sora, welcome. I'd like some more ANSI escapes in the timer. Is that code public? The code is not public right now. I probably could make it public. That would be, yeah, I would probably take some time offline to do that to make sure that I don't accidentally share something that I'm not supposed to. I think it should be fine, but I just need to check because it's on my work computer, and I need to make sure that I'm following all of our policies. But I don't see any reason we couldn't make the timer public. Yeah, ANSI escapes in the timer. So that would be like an ANSI escape. Those are the things that make it like nice colors, right? ANSI escapes. Google. Okay. Controlling cursor location, color, font styling, and other options. Yeah, it would look cooler if it just had like a single thing that said stream starting in, and then it says the number of seconds. I think that would look a little bit smoother. That would be a pretty fun thing to add to the program. I wonder, I'm going to just search for this. Is there like, or I should search actually Go. So I guess it maybe depends on the purpose of the escapes. Because I bet if we want to clear the screen, do we need to do anything special? Or maybe we can just like print something out. Ah, interesting. So they're saying that clearing the screen may depend on the operating system. They're also suggesting actually running, like using exec to call a separate process, which I think they say that up here, but that seems like a weird way to clear the screen, and probably it would be better to do something like this suggestion, which is print out these escape codes. There's no bulletproof cross-platform solution for such task. So maybe what we want is a Go library that would do this. There's this thing Go term, which seems like it might be kind of in the right direction. Basic building blocks for building advanced console UIs. So let's take a look at how we would use this library. We're going to import the library, and Oh yeah, that's a really nice API. So we call clear, sure. And then we move the cursor to the top left, which means that we'll always print out the output in the same place. That's pretty cool. So then we do just a print. That seems pretty easy. So I think it would be pretty easy to upgrade the timer using something like GoTerm. TCUSA says, why Crossos Matters? That's a great question. It probably doesn't in some sense. Right now, the software only runs on my computer, which is on Mac OS. So we could probably just hard code something for Mac OS. Sora says, what about backslash x1b left bracket 2j isn't a nice API? Fair enough. Fair enough. It is kind of nice in its own elegant way. One reason to try and make the application cross-platform is just for learning purposes, which is really, I mean, it's really the main goal for me of this stream and of the application is to help me learn. So I think building a cross-platform app could be helpful for learning how to, use a third-party library, for example. So let's take a look and see what else they have. Oh yeah, look at this. This is actually, I think this is really cute. The way that they've designed this API, you just you call print line, and then you can also pass in like a background color of white. You can pass in boldness. I don't know that we really need colors, but I like the idea of being able to do them if I want to. And maybe it would just add a certain polished look to the program. I kind of want to try this out. Not necessarily this exact library, but I think that could be pretty satisfying. So let's see, what else do we do here? Okay, creating a box and moving it to the center of the screen. Yeah, that's a pretty advanced terminal GUI. I've never tried to write. I think I've like cleared the screen, but I've never tried to write a full terminal GUI. Has anyone worked on something like that before? I think it's, I don't know. I guess command line tools are still pretty cool. Maybe even you could say that the command line is having a bit of a renaissance after the GUI popularity wave. So we can draw boxes. TCUSA says, I made the game of life in terminal once. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually did try to make a terminal UI kind of recently. Sora says they wrote a N curses clone. That's pretty cool. Yeah, both of those projects sound pretty interesting. I remembered I actually recently tried to make an emoji grid UI, and I've been meaning to write like a blog post or something that's like, don't try to make an emoji grid UI. The reason for that is because on one system compared to another system, the emoji may render at very slightly different widths. So if you want everything to be aligned in a perfect like checkerboard or grid shape, you really should not use emoji. Maybe you could get away with using a really restricted set of emoji, but I found like figuring out what emoji would render similarly across platforms, it just didn't work. Yeah, I was trying to write this city sim game, currently on pause for the summer, while I, enjoy myself outside. But it looked great on my terminal, but even on a different terminal on my same machine, it didn't work. So don't make an emoji grid UI is what I learned from that. Oh man, are you serious? This person has made a full line chart in the terminal. That actually looks really good. I think that if you hadn't told me it was in the terminal, I would not have immediately noticed it. I mean, looking here, it's like, okay, fine, this looks like dashes and an X, but that plot looks amazing. And it's also, wow, it's like 12 lines of code or something. This seems like a really great library. I'd like to queue that up as a thing to work on. Yeah, so the plan for today is to go through this post on using Go modules. Sora says, I love the bat top UI. What is bat top? Bat top? Did I spell that right? I think I must have entered something wrong here. Top. Rust, the top. Interactive batteries viewer. Oh man, I can't imagine how crazy the code would be to do like cross-platform battery checking. That's insane. What? This is just like a terminal viewer for your laptop batteries? That's crazy. Okay. Can I install it with Brew? Maybe not. Oh, yeah. Maybe not. That's a really cool package. I love that. So yeah, what does this look like? I mean, oh, these are beautiful plots. I love this little line plot. Yeah, I do. I guess I do have cargo on the machine, so I could just install that. Yeah, let's just pop that open. I want it to just like work. Oh, something bad happened. I don't know. I think my cargo setup's broken. RIP. Probably need to like get a new token or something like that. But I'm gonna scope that out of the stream and try and do some modules. So we've got this. This is on the Go blog, and we've got a 5-part series. But even this first part is pretty long, and I don't know if we can even get through this. Oh, you know what? Actually, we should probably start with Go packages. In different languages, as far as I know, packages and modules have varying meanings. As far as I can tell, like a package is not necessarily the same thing across different programming languages. I would be definitely curious to hear though, like, does the word package and module mean something to you? I'm used to thinking of a package as something that you can install and a module as like a directory. But I think in Go, I think it's the opposite. So yeah, let's start with packages. And this is just from the Go docs. And we've of course used packages before, because for example, let's take a look at the timer code here. We're already using packages by declaring the name of our timer package, and we're also importing a bunch of those built-in packages. So this is the actual source like syntax, where the package clause is really just this, pretty much this first line at the top. It doesn't look like there's much else going on. Then We've got our import declarations. It's nice to add these parentheses around it, but we can also just type import on every line. This is a pretty technical doc. I'm not sure if this is the most fun thing to stream reading, but we could try it out as well. TCUSA says looks pretty similar to Java. Yeah, in how it works, or more like how it looks. Because I think actually maybe visually it looks a little nicer, but perhaps it works similarly. I feel like this is not the package intro that I want. Let me re-Google that. Whoa. Oh, this is just a list of packages, which is probably, I mean, that's relevant, right? So we've got a ton of stuff in the standard library. This is a huge standard library, which I think is great. TCUSA says in Java, you also have package and import. Ah, that's a really good point. Yeah. One thing that kind of grinds my gears is that when you declare the package, you don't put quotes around it, but when you import it, you do. If there's a good reason for that, I would definitely be curious to understand why it is. I think it seems a little like once you're used to it, certainly it's fine, but it seems when I was like starting out, I kept accidentally putting quotes around this one or forgetting to put quotes around the imports. Maybe. Yeah, okay. So let's pull up this thing, packages from golangbook.com. I'm not familiar with that book at all. I'm just kind of wildly Googling around. If somebody has a good package intro, that would be perhaps also interesting. TCUSA says, because you can import from GitHub. Well, yeah, so I guess I understand. Like, probably they can't remove the quotes from this thing, but I think they could have just added quotes up here so that everything looks all, or so that it all works the same way. But maybe there's a reason not to do that. Yeah, because I mean, probably if you remove the quotes, then you have then it might be ambiguous, like where the name of one package begins or and ends, something like that. All right, so we're doing imports. Fine. I think that we've, on the stream at least, covered a lot of just importing standard library packages. It's very short, looks amazing. Resource Junior, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting reason that packages are good. It actually speeds up the compiler because it helps the compiler identify what parts of the program need to be recompiled. I think that's great. And it's also helpful for organizing code. TCUSA suggests maybe you don't put quotes around this thing because they don't want you to put arbitrary like strings as your package name. That's a really good theory. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty likely option. Good suggestion. Oh yeah, and packages also reduce the chance of having overlapping names. I'm trying to I'm not sure because my C programming skills are basically 0, but I want to say in the C programming language, there's not really name spacing. So if you want a name of a variable, you have to, if you want to like name two variables X, you have to like prepend each variable name with like the quote unquote package that it's in. Is that correct that that's what you need to do when you're programming C? I remember this causing some weirdness when trying to compile protocol buffers for multiple languages, because in C, there's no name spacing of the different variables, and there's no packages. So basically, like you could have a protobuf definition that works to compile into many languages, but it doesn't work to compile into C. If you have, like, for example, you might want to have two different things named error in different packages, but C, you can't do that if or you need to figure out some workaround if you're compiling your protobuf for C as well. So definitely, I guess I've never really worked with a language that doesn't have packages, but I think it's worth appreciating that packages exist at all. So here they are suggesting making a new folder and making a file called main.go. And what's this going to do? We're going to import math, which I guess must have been done in a previous chapter. And then we're just going to call math.average. And then in the same folder, we're going to make a file. No, we're doing a subfolder called math. And we're going to, that's where we would put the average file. So I think we could do that. It seems like a good first exercise. I wonder if it's legal to call your package. I bet that seems sketchy. I'm going to call this directory packages. And then I'm going to make my subpackage called subpackage. That's probably not a keyword in Golang. Speaking of keywords in Golang, I actually learned an interesting and weird fact today. Golang has this fall through keyword. When you have a switch statement, you can see you can actually type this fall through keyword at the end of your switch statement case to have it fall through to the next case. I personally think that fall throughs are make code really hard to reason about, because it's like, yeah, TCUSA, they do break by default. I find these fall throughs super hard to reason about, because when I'm looking at the case, I want to only kind of look at the code here, but I actually have to look up too to see if there's a fall through. And then I suppose I would actually need to look all the way up to case one and see if there's a case before it. Then if that has a follow through, then I need to kind of like keep tracing upwards. I would say I'm actually a little surprised that Go included this, because I think Go has a super minimal design, and they're really good at eliminating features that aren't necessary. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It kind of seems like a lot of other programming languages don't have that feature, so I'm not sure why Go needs it. Zora says, I like that better than the implicit fall through. I agree with that. But I think maybe my ideal is no fall through because it's actually possible to include multiple cases in a switch statement. So I think you kind of don't even need to fall through. Yeah, in Go, you can, yeah, Go doesn't have something like a match statement where you can like destructure a pattern, but you can include. So one thing you can do in Go is you can include this like you can include arbitrary logic in a case. So that means that you can it's to me it's almost like a massive chain of if else statements. But you can also include a list of different cases. And so I think that that gives the Go switch statement a lot of power where I'm like, I don't I don't feel like I really need fall through. Like this code, I'm not about it. But maybe some people like it. I respect that. So I was trying to, when I distracted myself, make a sub package. And I'm going to rename this from math to sub package just for consistency. So now I go to the outer directory and I'm going to make a file in this directory. Dave suggested that we just call this package main. Does anyone have any fun plans for the weekend? For me personally, I'm going to be hosting a barbecue, making a lot of burgers is the plan. I want to make like some super epic burgers with avocado, bacon, cheddar, mushrooms, peppers, like one of those like burgers that's like this high and you can barely even fit it in your mouth. That's my goal. I think I pasted this wrong. So this should go into package.go. And then I need to go fix this thing and rename math to subpackage. Now I'm seeing there's going to be an issue here because this is supposed to be in Golang book /chapter 11, but that's definitely not the directory that I'm in. So I need to figure out how to adapt this. Yeah, so now I'm in trouble. Package this thing is not in Go root. My current directory is this, which I actually think is in, I do think that this is in my Go root. No, it's not. This is in like a GitHub root. Oh man. So yeah, how is this thing gonna know like where to look for the package? I was afraid this would happen, and now I have no idea what to do. It's so easy when working with like Cockroach because all of the package structure and the module structure is like already set up correctly. So all you have to do to add new packages or something is like pretty much like replicate what they're already doing. So they're saying to create a folder in home source Golang book called chapter 11 and ~source. That may be their Go root or something like that. So what I would do to attempt to debug this, I'm seeing that their folder is ~source Golang book. And I'm seeing that my folder is this. So my first attempt is going to be like try and include everything after source in the import. And then if that doesn't work, I probably just cry, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Oh. Okay. So what we've learned is blindly trying different things is a much better idea than trying to actually read or understand anything. Just do some stuff and it'll work. Magical. DCUSA, thank you for sending that. So this is something that I want to understand more of, but I think that modules are kind of built on top of the package system. So that's why I'm trying to cover packages first, because packages, my understanding is that packages have always been built into Golang, but the module system was actually introduced with Go 1.11, which is like in 2019 or so. So I think modules were added on top, which is why I'm starting with packages. But yeah, I think hopefully by the end of this stream, we could have a clear idea of like, what is the relationship between modules and packages? So we were able to solve this import issue by doing what I would call, I don't know if you call it this in Go, but it looks like, I'd call this like an absolute import, where I'm specifying the full path, even though it's just in a sub package or a subdirectory of my current directory. So I think this calls for a git commit. We'll do a git status, add the current folder. I'm going to call it sub package. Okay. Now, what I was supposed to do was to type go install in that package. And it says this will compile the math.go program and create a linkable object file. Okay. This is going to be I guess it's a .a file. And my architecture would be probably Mac OS. I guess it's like an x86. So yeah, let's try typing go install and see what happens. So it did not actually print out any output, but let's try typing go help install to see if there's some way to get more verbose output about what's happening when we actually do this install. So there's go root, go tooldir, go bin, go path, kind of a lot of different directories going on here. So what I was looking for was like a verbose flag, but it doesn't seem that there is one. So I did do go run main.go. The interesting thing is it worked just fine even when I skipped go install. So I'll probably need to, I'm not sure even why I would need this linkable object file for normal Go programming. Is that actually something that I need to care about, or can I just kind of skip it and let Go run take care of figuring out how to build a project for me? Ooh. So math is a built-in package, but it's okay to make our own package named math because our package is a like qualified name. And I kind of dodged that by naming my package sub package so that it wouldn't conflict. So when we import, we use the full name. Inside of math.go, we only call it by the short name. So for this thing, I only call it by sub package here, which is a lot shorter. And we can also give it an alias. That could be nice if we have a really long package name, or maybe if we are importing two packages that would have the same name, such as like math, and we need to rename one of them. And of course, we want to think about private and public code. Got to hide methods that we don't want consumers to see. Ooh, yeah. Now, I'm a little bit nervous about generating documentation because I feel like there's like, you see the docs for all of your projects, and I'm on my work computer, so I have some projects that I would not really want to show the docs for on the stream. The reason for that is I work on Cockroach Cloud, which is the service part of Cockroach Labs, where we provide Cockroach DB as a managed service. And unlike the Cockroach DB code, which is all open source, the Cockroach Cloud code is closed source. So I need to be careful about not giving away the secret sauce, of course. Go doc. Interesting. Did they mean go space doc? Or did they really mean go doc? Or is it the same thing? Those seem to have been very different things. Man Godoc. Why is there two? Why is godoc and go space doc commands? That seems strange to me. So go space doc. Let's try this thing. Will this show me the help for printf? Oh yeah, that's cool. So this thing go space doc seems to be a doc lookup, whereas go no space doc, it's kind of annoying to have this like one letter of my terminal on the last line. Okay, that's still a little janky. Okay, so now I typed godoc and it's not doing anything. Oh, right, because it's like a server and you got to visit the page in the server. So we can try that. But I believe what's going to happen is it's going to show like all of my packages, and then I can't show it on the stream. Gotta hide this on for a second on my other monitor while I check it out. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay. Well, it appears, yeah, okay. This seems reasonable. So what we can see here is that this has documented just like my sub package, and we can look up the average function in it. So I guess that's nice. Normally, I probably wouldn't generate HTTP docs unless I would maybe do that for like an open source project. But for just coding stuff, I would probably just look at the docs, like the comments in the code. Okay, so packages. I think that we have at this point some understanding of packages. And maybe at this point, we can visit using Go modules. So they define a module here. It's a collection of Go packages, and it has a go.mod file at its root. Okay. This defines the module path and dependency requirements. So seems like this, whereas a package is really kind of just, it's a folder with code in it. This is more like your, what's the thing called in Ruby? Like bundler? I don't know enough Ruby stuff, but this is more like, in Rust, it would be cargo.toml. In Python and Java, in Python, it might be more like setup.py, although Python dependency management is very not standardized because unlike Go, dependency management wasn't really built into Python in the same way. Or like, oh man, I keep forgetting what these things are called. The Node.js one, everyone knows what that is. It's package.json. So this seems like go.mod is a little bit like package.json if I'm understanding it right. Okay, so here what we're going to try out is creating a module, adding a dependency, upgrading, and just kind of generally messing around with a bunch of dependency stuff. This asks us to create a new module. So maybe, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Interesting. So it looks like I actually already have a Go mod file for my whole learning Golang from zero. Let's see what I have in here. Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot. We actually explored using Golang mocking. So we do have a module. We have a working module. So I'll maybe just read through this without doing everything in it. We've got, let's see, package named hello, a function named hello, and then a test for said function. And we ran go mod init, which is I think also how we did this for the outer module. One thing I'm curious about, is it going to allow us to create a go.mod file inside of a sub package here? or can we only have a go.mod at the root? Like, can you have like a module inside of a module? It sounds confusing to do that, which is why I'm a little hesitant. So go mod init, that wrote the go mod file, which I think is how I originally got the go.mod. And then one thing that confused me about this workflow is that you just write this import statement in your code. And then when you run something like go test, I think it will actually automatically add that file into go.mod. I found that a little interesting because in a lot of programming languages, what I'd be used to is I would add something to like package.json or something first. And rather than having the executable or the compiler add it for me. I don't think one's necessarily better than the other, but I think the way that Go does it is different than how I've seen it done. So it will automatically look up the module and add it to go.mod. Cool. And using the latest tagged stable version. Or if there's no stable one, the latest tag pre-release, or if there's no pre-release, the latest untagged version. So it'll try and find like the most stable and then most recent version of the package to use. I like that it will just do that automatically for you. Okay. So the first time we ran go test, it installed stuff, but then afterwards it doesn't need to do that because it's already installed it. Great. Okay, so adding a new dependency has a cost. Definitely true. If there's a security vulnerability in the dependency, then that can translate to a security vulnerability in your own software. It can also bloat your software. There can be legal issues due to licensing. You could even have something crazy happen like the NPM left pad incident where a developer of a crucial open source library might remove their library and break the internet. Battle of the Bulge, welcome. So adding one direct dependency often brings in other indirect dependencies too. Definitely true. I've never seen this thing. Go list-m all. I wonder if we can actually, I want to run this go list-m all in the cockroach DB repo. So let's try this thing. In the cockroach DB repo, let's do go list-m all to see how many modules are in. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong directory. That was like the parent directory. Okay. So it says can't compute all using the vendor directory. Cockroach DB uses something called vendoring, which is I guess it's like including copies of all of our dependencies into the repo itself. So I think we'll learn about that as we learn more about Go modules, but apparently we could try this thing -m read only and see if that works. Okay, I guess it was. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to come back to that. It seems like there's an interesting interaction with vendoring. So this thing depends on mock, which also depends on crypto, net, sync, sys, a few other Golang X packages. And they're saying this thing, we've got a semantic 0.0.0. We've got a date, and we've got something that looks like a git tag, probably. It might be I think it's a git revision hash. This is what they're calling a pseudo version, and that's the syntax for a Go. So essentially, we're just using something from Git, it looks like. Interesting that these are all like 2019. Did I install an old version of Go? Or, well, I can see actually, I have it on my command line. I'm pretty sure I'm on Go 1.15.5, which I think is pretty new. One thing I've noticed about the Go community is there seems to be a little bit less enthusiasm about dependencies and a little bit more of reduce dependencies or prefer rewriting some code instead of having too many dependencies. And I think that's a valuable perspective to bring to the software development community, because I think some programming languages get really crazy with your transitive dependencies. Not going to name any names though. Sora says, I still don't completely understand how all of the GitHub dependencies works. What prevents someone to just delete their GitHub repo and break everything? That is a good question. I believe that is why CockroachDB uses vendoring, where it actually will copy the code into the CockroachDB GitHub or Git repo, so that if someone deletes their GitHub repo, or even if GitHub just goes down, I think Cockroach, you can still build and run CockroachDB. But perhaps that's not a complete answer. Looking forward to understanding more about that. And let's check out go.sum. Oh, okay. So this thing has the name of a module, or yeah, I think that's the name of a module. Then a pseudo version, then a file name, and then some kind of hash probably. And this thing looks like it's probably a base 64 encoded hash or something like that. One thing I'm a little curious about is why do I have three different, why do I need two different pseudo versions of X errors? I have this A985 commit, and then I also have this 1B51 commit. And in fact, in the example project from the Go blog, they also do, no, they don't have different versions, because what they have is the same pseudo version, but they have one line for just this package, and then another line for the go.mod. Whereas I have that as well, but also different multiple pseudo versions for the same package. I wonder, I actually have no idea what's causing that. Okay, so upgrading dependencies. A semantic version. I think probably people know semantic versioning. We could go over that for sure if that'd be interesting. It can get really complex with all the pre-release versions and everything. Does anyone have a favorite like versioning spec? Personally, I think that semantic versioning is a little complicated, but I'm not aware of like a better alternative. Let's take another look at go list-ml and the go.mod file. Right. So for this thing, we're going to call go get and try and get the newest version of text. Battle of the Bulge asks, do you have any tips for organizing folder structures for making your own packages? Oh, yeah. Well, one thing that's a good idea in any programming language and actually required in Go is avoiding cyclic dependencies, which is where you have one package that depends on another and vice like A depends on B and B depends on A. I think that that is something to be avoided for sure. In terms of organizing folder structures, I don't know. It's hard to give like, I don't have any like general ideas. Sora says, why is everything 0, 0, 0? Semvers under 1 can technically always make breaking changes. I think they do want to. I think they're probably intentionally not worrying about the versioning. I think they're just kind of saying, yeah, we can, we'll change this at any time if we want. And that gives them, I guess, the flexibility to iterate faster. Yeah. And I mean, even this, you're saying, yeah, I mean, I guess they're just deciding like version, they don't even care about version numbers. It's just like, because you can make a breaking change at any point. What's the point of having a version number anyways? I don't know. That's a good question. It seems like in Go compared to other languages, there's a lot more of just installing a package from the head of the master branch on GitHub. And maybe that's a good way to iterate fast. So now this thing says that it upgraded text to 036. Previously, it looks like it was at 030. I personally wouldn't want my code to suddenly stop and decided it was easier to not encode their breaking changes in December. Yeah. I think that probably the response to that is just that like in practice it won't happen very frequently. So now I need to cat my go.mod. And I have this new line of code, which is, so before it just said require golang/mock, but now it has another line for this golang.org/x/text, and it has this little indirect comment, which I think indicates that that I'm not directly depending on that package. So that's a transitive dependency. I mean, I don't know. I think like the Go team is not going to just like completely change the interface of golang.org/x/tools and like break the entire Golang ecosystem. Or maybe they will. I think that would get onto the front page of Hacker News for sure. So go list -m. Oh, okay. So something has broken due to that upgrade. What is this rsc.io? I'm not familiar with that. Is this a real website? So let's see, how can we easily reproduce this test failure? Oh yeah, okay, so probably not that easily, but the issue that they're hitting here is they upgraded the version of x/text, and there was an incompatibility. We may be able to list versions of okay, so that's pulling in perhaps different versions of this sampler. We should also be able to see that in the go.sum file. So probably the sampler is only coming from whatever import they're doing. We could just add a dependency. Yeah, let's just add that. So I'll just make this hello package. I think that'll be easier. I already have a hello package, so let's make a package called like modules. Then paste our file in there as usual. So we're going to edit the name of this. And this is what's importing rsc.io/quote. We will also need our testing package. Ooh, no, I named it the wrong thing. So, okay, let's try a go run dot. And this actually is going to do our whole module downloading process. Let's try go test dot. Okay, that's good so far. Ooh, I made a mistake because I didn't change the name of the module in the test file, so it didn't like that at all. I think it wants me to call this modules. Okay, the test passes. So let's go back and do go list -m all. And now this does include a dependency on sampler. So now let's rerun this thing, go get golang.org/x/text. That didn't do anything. And I think, so now, okay, now let's try running go get rsc.io/sampler. I don't really understand, why would this do something different than what we already did? Like, if I said in my file that I want to import sampler, why does go get give me a different version. Go help get. Okay. So this, I'm going to try and make the text size a little bit smaller so that it wraps better. Let me know if this is too small though. Okay. So this resolves and adds dependencies. It needs to decide what version. And I think my question is, if it's saying, if this thing looks up the latest tagged release version, how is that different than what Go would do automatically? And so like, why am I getting 1.99.99 now? Maybe I misread the docs here. It says, when it encounters an import of a package, the Go command automatically looks up the module containing that package. And they do say that the latest is defined as the latest tagged stable version. And that's also what Go get seems to do. I don't know. I'm finding this a little mysterious. So we did this Go get. And perhaps that will cause a problem. So I can run this by doing go test dot. Is this going to compile? Yeah. So it did cause a problem. And I don't understand why it's doing this 99 bottles of beer thing. Is that like a inside joke of some kind among the Go blog community? Maybe what it's doing when I do go get is like just independently choosing the version of sampler without trying to, yeah, I don't know. I'm mystified. So in this case, we are deliberately choosing version 1.3.1. I don't know. It seems like this is making me like manually solve or manually do dependency resolution. I'm not sure what we supposedly accomplished in this section, but the test does pass. So I guess whatever we were trying to accomplish, we did. I just don't know what it was. So we can add a dependency on a new major version. Okay, that's cool. So we can actually depend on multiple different versions of the same library. That is a great feature. In some programming languages, it is not possible to do that. I want to say in Java, you can only depend on one version of a particular library. I think there's something called shadowing that you can do to kind of work around that. And I think also in Python, you can only depend on a single version of a library. So I think it's quite nice to be able to depend on multiple versions, especially because when you have transitive dependencies might depend on different versions of the same thing. In Java, trying to get all of that dependency like shadowing and conflicts figured out can be really annoying for large projects. At the same time, supporting multiple versions of a dependency it's not like a magical solution, because you still, if you're trying to get those two versions of the dependency to work together, that might cause problems. Also, it might cause more bloat by having multiple copies of what's pretty similar software in your system. So we'll make this new proverb function. And what are we going to test? Concurrency is not parallelism. That was actually a topic of discussion previously on the stream, which is, what is the difference between concurrency and parallelism? So let's do go test. As we can see, it found a module, downloaded the module, and the test passed. So now we can, let's just do a go list -m all, and we can see we're depending on two different versions of this rsc.io/quote. More quotes. Great. Oops. I think I might have forgotten to make my previous commit, didn't I? No. Okay. So how are we doing? We're getting kind of close to the bottom of this post. I think that we'll be able to probably work through this. Probably won't have time to add colors and style to the timer, but I think that would be pretty fun as a next project, to actually get a little more hands-on with making the timer more polished. Ooh, maybe we could even do like some like cool animations where, like, it's like when you see those like super advanced terminal progress libraries, they have like this like crazy little bars and spinners. I kind of want that. Or like some clock emojis, like something cute to give it a little panache, or je ne sais quoi, perhaps. So we've got another go doc command here. That is awesome. So you can just type go doc, and then the name of your module, and it will print out the all of the functions in it and a description of how to do it. And I guess if you copy paste this, it will let you easily import it. That's a nice bonus. So we can update to use quote.hello v3 because, and then we're probably going to just remove the unused dependency. That is confusing, actually. So I was going to skip this, but I actually think it's really worth covering this because this really tripped me up at some previous point. So step one is switch to quote v3. So in our hello, we're doing quote v3 dot hello v3. Yeah, this is obviously just like a toy module, which is cool. And then we don't need the renamed import. So we can undo that. No more renamed import. And we're just going to completely delete the import of quote. Run the tests. Ooh, I'm in trouble. Oh, yeah. So this is no longer called quote v3. That's what the problem was. Great, it worked. And now we want to remove unused dependencies. We'll start with a go list-m. And so why is this still in the go.mod file? Building a single package, you can't tell when something needs to be removed, right? And this is part of the beauty of packages, is that we don't have to recompile the entire project all the time, but it also means it doesn't give us a quick way to see if something is unused. So we're going to run this thing go mod tidy. Let's see if that does it for us. And then we'll, I guess, relist the modules, right? Amazing. So we've removed quote 1.5.2 and we only have 3.1.0. Awesome. And we've gotten to the conclusion. So we got go mod init, these various commands to automatically add new dependencies, go list-m all, and go get. That one I did not, go get I didn't completely, I understood go get when we passed in a specific version of a dependency, but I didn't totally understand what was going on for just typing go get. I didn't really get why that, like why it changed the required version. And then we just ran go mod tidy to remove unused dependencies. So let's do a git commit. So this is the first of a 5-part blog series. I don't know if we're really ready to do all 5 parts of this. That might be a little bit too in-depth on one topic for now. So I think for next week, I'd like to try and add some bells and whistles to the stream countdown timer. If you're just tuning in, what does the timer look like? So you type go run dot, and then you type in time, and then I could type in, like, say if I wanted to start my stream in 2 minutes, I would pass in the stream start time. And so right now, it's, as you can see, the UI is pretty bare bones, but it would be pretty cool to upgrade that with some cute terminal graphics. And that's not something I've ever really done, but I think it would be really fun. So looking forward to that next time. I think I'm going to sign off for the day. First, before I do that though, let me quickly pitch what we have coming up on the CockroachDB stream in 40 minutes. We have Beyond the Boot Camp, which is an interview with Cassidy Williams about Jamstack, Netlify, and React. And so that's this new series done by Amruta from Cockroach. And I think she's interviewing people to explore the intersection of sort of the transition between coding boot camp and like professional software engineering. And so, hopefully tune in and enjoy that stream. Thanks very much for everyone who tuned in, and looking forward to seeing you next week for some light terminal graphics.